What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka 68J, coming to you on this Thursday, and I've got an incredible guest here with us today, Mr. Man. How you doing, my friend?
I'm loving life, man. I'm loving life. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Oh man, it's an honor having you on. You put out so much great content. Been following you for some time. Before we get started, I want to ask you, who was Mr. Man prior to crypto? Now, I'm talking about before crypto, even before maybe you were a superhero saving the world, with the web and stuff like that. Just one of my favorite superheroes, man. What can I say? But yeah, who's Mr. Man before crypto, if you don't mind?
Yeah, that's a hard one to answer because I've always been a superhero, slinging webs everywhere I go.
I love it. I love it.
But in all reality, though, before I jumped into crypto, I was working in I worked in the field of aviation. I had done that for 5 years. I'd gone back to school for aviation management, had passed. That's where I learned to study. And then I'd gone to aviation itself, and in the field of aviation, I worked in the capacity of technical records and quality assurance. So I was the guy who looked after all the compliance within the AMO, the aircraft maintenance operation. So I made sure that all the maintenance that was accomplished on the aircraft was in adherence to the governing body, and that the way we had written it down was in accordance to what the Canadian aviation regulation states how we're supposed to do it. So I was the guy who kept the company ticking in terms of regulations. So in terms of translating that into cryptocurrencies, right now it's just me trying my hardest to learn how the regulations in finance world works, and then just pretty much just transpose it the exact same way, because regulations are regulations no matter where or what industry it's in.
Love it. Love it. Now, prior to that, what were you doing?
My previous life, I was a youth worker. I had done that for 12 years of my life. I was helping individuals who were on the spectrum, autism spectrum, Asperger's, dual diagnosed, fetal alcohol syndrome, you name it. I worked with it. I gave up don't take this in a negative way, but I mean, I gave up my life to help other people out. I would do this for 12 hours a day.
Wow.
And then come home, and that was my life, really. And then it's like a rinse and repeat. And it got to the point where I didn't recognize myself. And then that brought me out to the oil fields for a year. And that is some tough work when you're 30 years old. I was the oldest guy out in the oil field at 32 years old.
Wow,
man.
wow. So let me ask you this, because obviously we know about your background. I appreciate that. And we even know before that, when you were in your teens, some people called you Peter Parker, but obviously you call yourself Mr. Man when you were saving the world, flying off all these buildings and stuff. So, hey, you got a lot of fans here, man. We got a lot of love for you. You got some great comics. I've seen all your movies. Good stuff. Now let's talk about crypto. What year was it that you actually slung in to crypto and gave up your superhero duties to start investing?
I love all the superhero adaptations you're throwing.
I love it, man. Hey, man, Spider-Man's one of my favorite guys.
Yeah. What can I say? It's funny how that works. So one of my boys, he had spoken to me about crypto in the early days, and so I had heard about Bitcoin in 2008, 2009 when it first came out, and I knew nothing about it. To me, it made sense. The digital money, I was like, oh, this makes sense, and I started connecting with a group of guys who were trying to figure this out and make this work for them. They clearly understood what was going on. I didn't, and I got left behind. So I put that part of my life behind me and just kept living. And then around 2012, 2013, my boy was like, you got to get some of this XRP stuff, get some of these other ones. I had no idea what it was. Absolutely no idea. But I bought it, and it sat there on the Binance exchange. No idea. And then years go by, and it just sat there still. It just sat there, and then I put myself through school when school was done, and then the beer flu came. This is what it was to me. The beer flu came.
Okay,
and that began to put things into perspective, because I spent a good chunk of my life chasing this virus, trying to figure out what was going on, what these injections were about, and it got to the point of my life when I was leaving work. I had a mental breakdown in my car. I'm like, I can't do this. I just can't do this anymore. It's too negative. It's too bad.
Right.
So I figured for whatever reason, I would jump into cryptocurrency. And man, let me tell you, at the start, I got scammed every which way you could think of, man.
Jeez.
And that was my wake-up call, because my wife was like, well, you're a great studier. Why don't you just do this yourself? I was like, well, I don't even know where to start. And since then, I haven't come up for a breath, man. Like, I'm still underwater, just looking and digging and digging.
I love it. I love it. Now I have to ask the question, like the elephant in the room. How did the mask start? I mean, was it just like one of those things? I see crypto, I'm going to be masked. Was it like an accident? Can you kind of explain that a little bit? How do you get to the Spider-Man mask?
Absolutely, yeah. Because I was studying crypto as hard as I was, and I was part of a group. I'm part of the CypherX group, and because I was part of that group, I was one of the ones helping out with some of the research there. And my mentor was like, you're great at research. What I'd love for you to do as a collaboration video with me. And I'm like, nah, not gonna happen. I'm not trying to be on camera, not trying to show my face. I'm happy with being in the background. It's like, you gotta do this. You gotta do this like you're a solid researcher, and no one can present the information that you found like you.
Right.
So I went on there the first time, and then him and I started collabing and doing videos. And I wore a mask because I didn't want anybody to know who I was. I see. No one needs to know what's going on. I just want to present information to the world. And for me to present information, no one has to know who I am, really. I'm just presenting the documents that these entities put out there. And that's what I'm doing. It just kind of became the persona.
now when you swung into, because I'm going to keep using the superhero terminology, when you swung into crypto, were you looking at Bitcoin? Was that the first thing you got into, or was it instant attraction to XRP? How did you get into XRP?
It wasn't an instant attraction to Bitcoin, because like Bitcoin's the shiny thing in every room. Like it's you hear it everywhere you go. Like you can't not talk about crypto and avoid the Bitcoin topic. So when I first caught wind that it was like being utilized now as a currency in El Salvador, I was like, this is it. Other countries are going to start adopting this. This is the way to go. Forget the dollars. No one needs a digital money all the way. And then I started learning, and people were like, and I Coach JV. Coach JV was saying, don't be part of don't be part of the game.
Right.
So I started listening to some of his stuff, and it was making sense, but I had a difficult time putting the pieces together. So I would go on the 3T Warriors channel and start chatting with people, and someone threw out this word. They were like, Bitcoin is XRP. It's a Trojan horse. And I was like, what? What does that even mean for cryptocurrency? What does that mean? So again, that's when that dive became realistic for me. And I was like, I get it. I see it now. I see it. We're not trying to change up the currency. Currency itself is trying to stay the same, just in a digital form. We're just utilizing new software.
Right.
The end.
Yeah,
that was it. That's all the connection I needed.
I love it. Shouts out to the group that are watching right now. We've been on for about 8 minutes, coming up on 300 live viewers, both on X and on YouTube. Shouts out to Sly Fox. Shouts out to Maria V. Appreciate you, Crypto Navigator. Janet Lopez. Appreciate you, Mom. We got Becky in the house. Always one away. Rye Guy. Thank you guys for all tuning in, and all those that are live. So definitely appreciate you guys. So let me ask you this: what is your thoughts right now on the current market status? Being that all this, you've been around for a while, you've seen this before, leading up into the halving. What do you think we can expect? What do you see us going in the next, several months?
That's an interesting question. I'm super excited. Like right now, I'm extremely bullish, and I've been for a while, especially with these lows that we're making now. I'm so happy about them. I've been amongst my family and I forecasting that these lows are going to happen, and of course the forecast is just looking at the charts and planning that hopefully these reach your area of expectation, and they have. So that being said, I've been buying these dips furiously, and I'm excited for this halving to happen. Like it officially supposedly starts tomorrow, and then the next few months as it begins to skyrocket, if you will. I'm not trying to say that it's going to skyrocket, but skyrocket, if you will.
Right.
Like I'm very excited about it. The market to me looks really tasty, looks very moist, and I'm happy about how things are looking.
I love it.
Yeah.
You guys do me a huge favor. I want you to follow my friend, my brother, Mr. Man. We're going to go over to his X right now. It's at Mr. Man XRP. You guys can see it right here in his full. Right now, he's kind of at home, and he's getting ready to, take off his Spidey suit and take a shower. But he kept the mask on for me. But normally, he's in his full suit. You can see him right here on his X page. If you guys ever need any help, or he's right here. So we'll appreciate you in a major way. And then also go over to his. For those of you guys don't know, he actually has a YouTube channel with phenomenal content. If you guys want to go over there, it's also Mr. Man, and you'll see it right here on YouTube. Again, you guys can follow all his amazing content. Appreciate you in a major way. So let's get into the next subject here. I know you've been around for a while. You followed what's going on with this amazing guy by the name of John Deaton.
Yes.
And I wanted to get your opinion on what you think about John Deaton, his race for Senate, and what that means as a whole for crypto, if you don't mind.
I think that in terms of crypto itself, this is definitely a plus. It doesn't get more A plus than this.
Right.
And the direction that he could lead the crypto market, I think, is a fantastic one in terms of a positive outlook and outcome for cryptocurrency. I mean, the people that are sitting in chairs right now, they are not doing any justification in terms of innovating. You know, the U.S. is supposedly, or at least it states that the U.S. is supposedly an innovator and leads the globe in terms of innovation right now. But there's a lot of innovation that's, I don't want to say not happening, because it's happening within U.S. borders as well. It's just not able to get out because of the people that are sitting in the particular seats that they are. So for an individual such as John Deaton to be in this race now makes me very excited. And again, not just because he's an XRP advocate and or a Ripple advocate, just because he's pro cryptocurrency.
Right.
And he has an understanding, a keen understanding on where the globe is going, and he wants to help the U.S. achieve that.
That's
so
right.
Much respect for that. I live in Canada, by the way, not U.S. But for me to understand what's going on in Canada, I need to know what's going on in the U.S. because
That's
the
right.
U.S. leads the world and Canada.
Smart man. No, well said. And I definitely agree with you with John Deaton. The next question I would have is your thoughts. You know, obviously, one of the things I love about your channel is very factual. You put up a lot of great content. You do your due diligence. It's great research. And I see that you're bullish on many things in the space, specifically XRP. You've done your homework with Ripple. So my question to you is, of all the research you've done, and that's why I like bringing on a lot of quality people who've done their due diligence and have phenomenal mindsets in this space, would you say that Ripple is a solid company based off of the research that you've done?
You know what? It took me a while to understand what a solid company was. And I basically learned what a solid company was when I founded my own company, because I'm a real estate investor. And to own property, you have to have a company registered and licensed and everything else. And to hold and sustain this company now for 5 years and to understand what's going on, and now to look at Ripple and to see how they're sustaining their business, capitalizing on the software that they not created but utilized or was gifted to them. I personally believe Ripple is a outstanding company itself. I mean, they're there holding conversations and rocking and chopping it up with the big boys, like the top of the top. They're
Right.
hanging out with the BIS, they're hanging out with CPMI, they're hanging out with IMF, the World Economic Forum. And I'm not saying these are amazingly creditable companies. I mean, there's a good and a bad to everything. It depends on where you are on the spectrum. But in terms of who is leading the world and the direction that the world goes, is the pacemakers such as these individuals. So for Ripple as a company to have the connections to these individuals and be that close with them, that's an outstanding outlook for this company itself. And I'm super excited to be in early. Like you never get opportunities like this to see companies this early in the game, this new, but yet in crypto, in the crypto realm, they're like, Ripple is only 12 years old, but in the crypto realm, that's like an eternity. They are like the grandfather, the grand poobahs, if you will. So to get a company that's this new, but yet this mature in the space,
Right.
You can't get any better than that,
Yeah, I love it. And then the reason that I trust everything you're just saying, because I know if there was something wrong with Ripple, your spidey senses would be going off. So that just tells me everything I need to know right there.
No doubt.
Going into my next question, XRP. Where do you see it? And again, this is not financial advice. Where do you see it in the short term, being that obviously there's a lot of amazing things going on? We got stablecoin, XRP, Ripple announcing a stablecoin. You have obviously this crazy dollar amount that the SEC came out with. Oh, we want 2 billion, but all that really just told me is that maybe that's the start of some kind of negotiations getting towards a settlement. So with all that being said, in the short term, without any kind of definite number, no one can say what it's going to be. Where do you see XRP in the short term versus the long term, maybe in the next 5 years?
So we're sitting at 2024 right now. Honestly, I don't see much of a huge movement until the 2028, 2029, 2030, like the end of the so-called agenda, if you will.
Right.
Because what we're waiting for in terms of what I've been researching there is the infrastructure to be put in place. We need certain components like fast payment system to actually connect. China, in terms of the BRICS, China can connect to every other member within the BRICS nations, but the other BRICS nations cannot yet. So there's still issues with that. So for Ripple, their main component or proponent is cross-border payments. So for them to be able to meet that cross-border payment initiative that they are working on and doing, they need those fast border payments connected there. A lot of fast payment systems are connected to the Ripple net. So once they are connected, all of them, they will have that network effect. And I don't see much movement in the 2025 year. I do see we might have a downturn in the 2025 through the down to 2027, but in terms of 2028, 2029, 2030, I see an uptick at that point, because I feel that's when we're going to achieve the singleness of money, as the BIS keeps putting out, because we have stablecoins coming in this year and end of the year, and then January 1st, 2025, we have the BIS coming out with their stablecoin global framework. And then the singleness of money with the CBDCs comes out later in the year. And I'm waiting for EU and Europe to lead with that. And that's near the end of that era, if you will.
Yeah, well said. I definitely agree with you. Shouts out to Smoke, shouts out to Halifax, shouts out to Optimistic Prime and Nest Force, all you guys that are here. Appreciate you in a major way. No, I agree with you. I think that if we see any kind of price movement right now with XRP, it'll be based off of just literally moving with the market. So, if Bitcoin took some crazy pump up to the upside, I said before, if we get back into the like 70s up towards the 80s, maybe we break that dollar finally. We start getting up towards 100,000. Maybe we see a couple bucks or so. I think what also plays a part of that, again, not financial advice, is going, if we have a settlement, that definitely adds lighter fluid to the scenario, because then obviously we're the only asset on planet Earth that's not a security, other than, Bitcoin getting a pass. But then to also have that settlement and, just to be left alone by the SEC. Then I also think that what could change in the short term, Mr. Mann, is the elections. Depends on if we have Gary Gensler step down, that's bullish as hell. If we, again, we talk about a settlement, that's bullish as hell. Depends on what president gets elected, that's bullish as heck. So all those variables can play a part in crypto having a bit of an uptick, especially we just had, obviously the money that's coming in with Bitcoin ETS. And then, we'll see how all the stuff plays out with, with Ethereum, ETHGate, and all those type of things as well. But I think, like I said, XRP right now is moving with the market. If Bitcoin dips, we dip just like that if it goes up. But I think, like you said, and a lot of what you're saying is on point, is not going to be until I think later. I don't know. I don't know the years exactly, but I just think later down the line, some of the things you were talking about, it's going to be when there's, obviously a settlement. Maybe there's some clarity. Maybe, there's, I think, stablecoin regulation and what happens with XRP stablecoin and how that's going to be utilized. That could be huge as well, because someone just put something here in a text in the chat, and I saw where there was some speculation. Could it be used for this? Could it be used for that? The fact that when, what they're doing is following, all the guidelines, whereas now they're even questioning Tether, they're questioning USDC. There's all these things because of some of the stuff that Warren is trying to put out there as far as stablecoin regulation. So we'll see how that plays out. But I really think that there's a lot of things that's in place that's super bullish for Ripple right now. And the thing that we saw as a curse early on with this lawsuit may wind up being one of the greatest blessings of all time. Absolutely. And I don't say that because we fought the fight. We've already got through it. And while everybody else has to get in the mud, we're starting to clean off our shoes a little bit. And so I think that's really what I see. So like you said, I'm super bullish on it as well. Now, let me ask you this question. For people who are in, let's say, XRP. Now, again, I'm not only in XRP, but I talk a lot about it because I think right now, when you look at ETHGate, when you look at the SEC biggest case, which is Ripple, it's hard not to talk about. Like the SEC was against Shiba, or the SEC was against Solana, or if the SEC was against, Chainlink, then damn it, that's what I'd be talking about, because I just hate injustice. I hate bullies. I can't stand it. And it'd be the hottest topic. But the fact of the matter is, ETHGate And everything that we see with Steven Narev and everything that we see right now with SEC, it all ties back into Ripple. And even though we see these other cases like Coinbase and, you see these other things going on, Binance, Ripple's still the biggest case on the planet, because if that gets solved or settled, that's huge in the fact of how it helps other projects and things like that. So
absolutely.
So my question to you is, what do you say to the people right now, Mr. Mann? And I know you probably get this all the time, probably get some DMs, obviously being a hero. There's a lot of people who get frustrated because they see the shiny meme coins, the Shikaka coins with 15 zeros, which it doesn't exist. I'm being facetious, but I don't want to talk about anybody's project, brothers. I always say Shikaka coin, but everyone's got these projects. It's shiny, it's moving fast. It went up 1,000% last week, and they're frustrated as hell with XRP, because honestly, if you're talking about it, you go back to 17 and to where the price is at is almost the same. So, it's one of the worst performing assets with the greatest upside potential, with the greatest, for what it was created for, utility and use case. What do you say to the people that's frustrated right now, my friend? If you could.
If we look back at 2017, when Santander had joined with Ripple, you can see immediately there was a huge spike up. And then in 2021, there was a connection with Singapore and Prompt Pay and Do It Now, I believe it was, for that faster payment. And the WEF talks about this in one of their papers, talking about connecting the faster payment systems. And in the 2021, in April, and they were talking about in April, you can see the shoot up of XRP on the charts. So you can see the correlations of XRP and these things happening. Yeah. So the reason I again, this is just belief, because I'm not in there, in the laboratory with them chopping it up and trying to determine what's going on. The reason I believe that XRP is still low is because there's a lot of there is still a lot of sandboxing happening, right? And in the sandbox, there has to be an exit strategy. And the only exit strategy that I'm aware of right now that has come out recently would be Palau, to utilize the stablecoin, if you will,
right,
with the USD backing. So that had me making that connection to Ripple's USD backing could possibly be a Palau stablecoin. But in terms of XRP not moving, there's a lot that needs to take place in the background before the foreground can see any movement at all. And the people that are here speculating, just thinking like, I'm going to get rich, I'm going to get rich. If that's what you're here for, you're in the wrong thing. This isn't that shiny thing that's going to do what you want it to do.
That's right.
You're here to learn and understand what's going on. And then because you have an understanding what's going on, you can put the puzzle pieces together.
Right.
And my guy Smoke does a fantastic job of that, putting that information out.
He sure does.
Give him a follow. But because we're able to put these puzzle pieces together, we have a more of a cognizant idea of how XRP can potentially move. Not sure when it's going to move, though, but we now have an idea of what puzzle pieces need to be put in place first before it moves.
Right.
So we're not just looking at regulations as a whole in terms of, I'm waiting for regulations. What does that mean?
Right.
It means something different to the uneducated person versus the educated person, knowing that we need to have DORA in place, knowing that we need to have Mika in place, knowing that stablecoin goes shoot up, knowing that the BIS has to have their global framework first. And then you have to have IOSCO with the infrastructure, and then the OEC. Like, there's a lot of entities behind the scenes doing a lot of things. Right. So if you're here speculating, like, you might as well just jump into Bitcoin and hope for those volatile moves. Like, we're here for the long run,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, well said. And by the way, another Avenger is in the chat right now. We have Iron Man in the house. Iron Man, what's up, my brother? Iron Man XRP is here, so he wanted to give a shout out. Said another Avenger's here. So amazing guy, Iron Man. So with that being said, I don't know if you've been following what they've been doing over at Fruition Productions. Chris and Maya, phenomenal people. I've been able to develop a friendship with them. Absolutely phenomenal. And the things that they're doing in bringing this documentary out, XRP Unleashed. We also have ETHGate and some incredible interviews that they've been doing. What do you think about that documentary, and what do you think it means for crypto?
In all honesty, I'm still waiting for my invitation from them to come and I'm waiting for that limelight myself.
There you go. Hey, man. Hey, yeah.
I mean, I figure I'm at a point in my career, if you will, now they can come and chop up Mr. Man. No, right. I think it's an interesting concept that they're putting this out there now. I mean, there's a lot happening in the crypto space in terms of ETHGate, like you said, in terms of these new ecosystems popping up, in terms of the Ripple court case, in terms of XRP being utilized, and these educated individuals now popping up within the XRP army itself. I think now is a good time to put this, at least start it, and then to put it out. Because now it's not just influencers, if you will, talking about this. I don't consider myself an influencer, and the people that I follow, I don't consider them an influencer either. They are more educated, and I consider them researchers because they're putting out information. They're not just sitting there with the open mouth and like, oh my God, XRP to 5,000. No, they're putting out information, things to make you think critical, and then they provide further information to that, so you can continue that education and take it on yourself. So for them to go and put this documentary out now, with everything that's going on and the type of research that's happening now, I think it's fantastic.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Now, we saw, obviously, you've been around for a while. You saw Gary Gensler getting some of these congressional hearings, being on various news channels. Every time someone would say, why did ETH get a pass? Is ETH a security? He had nothing to say. All of a sudden, they asked for all this money from Ripple, which, again, could be reminiscence of a possible settlement. Who knows? It starts the conversation. Then they also go after Uniswap. Then they also go and say Ethereum's a security. What do you think is going on with all this, as far as ETH being a security, going after Uniswap with this? What do you think is happening, and why now?
I just want to start by answering that by saying that I thought Gary G was putting out a resignation tweet today. My guy put out a tweet and he's like, I want to start by saying I've been here with the SEC for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta reverse this. So I was like elated that this guy was leaving.
Well, do you know that's typically what happens going into an election, is that the chair for the SEC typically steps down. Whether he does it or not is going to be different. And then some people speculate, like my guest that was on the other day, that maybe he'll be put out of his position if possible. But I don't know. Continue on with that. That's pretty. I like where you're going with that.
Yeah. So with that being said, if he's leading into this now, and we're leading into elections, maybe he knows something that we don't. Like I don't want to say that I foresee Biden getting back into office, but I don't foresee a person who's going to further this crypto agenda in the U.S. being put into office, wholeheartedly. I don't see that yet, because in terms of the economy, yet there's still way more hurting that can exist within this economy. Like just looking at the outcry for Canada, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, but it could be a lot worse. Like Canada's capital gains tax now is moving from 50% up to 66.6%. So there's still a lot more hurting in the economy that can be had in Canada and US. So now with Gary Gensler, my man, this guy, like there's so much to talk about this guy. On one hand, I'm like internally like infuriated with him,
right?
But I don't make it known because it's like it is what it is.
Right.
On the other hand, I'm extremely happy that he was the one that was put into position, because he's provided me and hopefully millions of others with the opportunity to DCA into some of these fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Wow. That's a good way to look at it.
Throughout all the darkness, you have to find and hold on to that ray of light, because if not, I'll end up in the position where I was before, where I had a mental breakdown because of the whole beer flu that happened. So I do want to give a shout out to Gary. Thank you for that. But at the same time, he's also one of those meme coins, if you will.
He's Gary's something else. It's weird the way you put it, because I guess one could look at it that way, where he's giving everybody the opportunity to, get more, to acquire more and get those bags filled up. Because, if it wasn't for what he did, or the SEC, Jay Clayton, the whole thing that's been going on, I don't think we would see XRP at the price that it's at right now, for sure.
No. When I finally jumped in and recognized what was going on, I started buying in at $1, and then it went down, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened here? I thought this thing was going to explode. And that's when I joined up with the CypherX team to start learning about the charts and the graph and the economy and what's actually going on, and how these things can dictate or show you what is happening in the economy. So I've been DCAing down, and now I'm at a nice healthy level where I'm at now. So I've dropped my DCA level down, and I'm nice and comfortable. I'm able to to purchase more, thanks to this bald-headed gentleman.
Yeah, trust me. Me and you could have some conversations about Gary Gensler. I've done. I had this little interview thing that I did. I didn't pull it up, although I was out of play right now. But so where do you see? And you might have touched this just as a whole, this industry in the next 5 years, and I think you might have touched on it a little bit.
I see this industry exploding in the next 5 years because we got big players like BlackRock talking about tokenization, and with tokenization hitting the infrastructure, like that's what we need. That's what's going to propel this industry and legitimize it. We have tokenization, then we have stable coins, and stable coins are going to be the mechanism to purchase these tokenized assets now. Purchase, trade, swap, whatever you want to call it, because we need that value, that mechanism that holds the value or encapsulates it and be able to facilitate that purchase, if you will. So now we have those tokenization, we have the ETFs, we have legitimate things happening, and now there's commercials reaching the mainstream, if you will now. There's the Dosaki guy talking about Bitcoin, which is fantastic. So in terms of 5 years, I foresee this industry legitimize. And where, in terms of where it's at dollar-wise, I couldn't say. I'm not a price projection type of guy. I'm more of a fundamentalist where I learn about the infrastructure and whatnot. But I see this being like, this is a legit thing. It's now part of the internet. It's the finternet, if you will, where we have value moving from one end to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, with these digital intermediaries facilitating all of that. Like, it's already legitimate. It's already happening. But in the next 5 years, it's going to be at a place that we could never imagine. And it's going to reach new heights because we are in a dual era, if you will, with cryptocurrencies. And then the second one is with artificial intelligence. And cryptocurrencies will go up. And because AI is leading that cryptocurrency propulsion there, we're going to reach an area that we haven't necessarily been before as a culture, if you will. Because it's going to be, AI is going to be leading us. We're going to be in a place where there's not many regulations. So it's going to get quite dark, I can foresee.
Right.
But through that darkness, as long as we manage to keep together, it'll be so bright.
Right. Do you think that the timing right now with Ripple coming out with their own stablecoin, and the fact that, I don't know, if you've been doing a lot of research, obviously you see stuff like in China with Evergrande, the implosion of that, they say it's one of the biggest scandals ever, bigger than Enron, bigger than FTX. And then you see Tether heavily tied into that. Tether heavily tied into a lot of things. Some people even attributed the 68,000 run up in 2021 to Tether printing money. All these different variables. And so now with this, the stablecoin regulation, it could definitely, they've always eluded a full audit. And I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. So is this perfect timing for Ripple to come up with a stablecoin? And obviously we know Ripple is going to do things the right way, because it's like the turtle in the hare. They may not be the fastest, but doggone it, they're going to do it the right way. So do you think this is perfect timing as far as that? And do you think them announcing this stablecoin will be bullish for not only Ripple, XRP, and the XR, those that hold it?
I think the stablecoin couldn't have come at a better time, because they're going to be grandfathered in. They are coming into to MiCA early, so now they don't have to go through all the other regulatory processes that'll happen later on. I think they are grandfathered in. And again, I do believe this is just a belief based off of study. But when Palau had exited their sandbox for their stablecoin, and now they're in a phase 2, and Ripple came and dropped theirs, I foresee Ripple claiming a nice, healthy portion of the market when if USDT implodes. I picture USDT through Tether as an extension of the Fed, if you will. I mean, they've allotted themselves a lot of power that they shouldn't have. A digital asset is supposed to be able to go convert on its own autonomously from one form into the next. So one USDT should be able to convert into that same value of gold, into the same value as USD, the equivalent. But Tether has the ability to freeze those funds, to inhibit that convertibility. So the fact that they have the ability to do that and have been obfuscating these audits, have you been saying there, they don't meet as a company, and their offering through USDT don't meet regulatory adherence, because they're supposed to have audits at least once a month, and they haven't done any, not providing any transparency at all.
They've been paying fines, is what they've been doing. They rather pay fines than to be fully audited. And so I think it's brilliant that Ripple came out, like you said, in this perfect time, because one of the things that worried me, Mr. Mann, prior to this announcement with Ripple is that I thought that the last spade, you had FTX could have been like the Jack of Spades. You had Binance could have been like the Queen of Spades. You had this whole thing with ETHGate could have been the King of Spades. And I always thought that Ace of Spades was Tether, the implosion of Tether. That I thought that could be the thing that devastates the market at a time that if the economy, you see all these things going on, globally, inflation, real estate in China and other places are horrible. It costs, you got to put a McDonald's Happy Meal on layaway now. It's so damn expensive. So,
yeah,
but the point I'm trying to make is that if we didn't have, I think when things go south with Tether, people are going to start moving their money into other things like USDC or whatever. I think it's perfect timing because Ripple can get that by default, a massive amount of liquidity that goes into its stablecoin, just because people are going to, and the credibility and especially if they settle. So you not only do you have a company that's legally free, not a security. I think at that point, Mr. Mann, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think they go from a phenomenal company that most people don't understand, or maybe they do understand and they don't believe in, to at the very forefront. I'm talking about to the fact that they're at the #1 position when it comes to the most credible crypto company on the planet. Because if they can get rid of that legal crap that's been over their head, that cloud, and we just see clear skies, man, I think that's that along with, because what happens from there, and again, I want to get your take on this. Now all of a sudden we know it's kind of like it's the things that we know about Ripple is exciting. The Metacode, the this, the that. It's the things that we don't know that I think is greater. Yeah. I think it's the things that we don't know that they know. And so when Brad says something like flip of the switch, or Rosie Rio says train has left the station, and we're going, what, the train has left the station, but it's the things that they know that we don't know. And I think that moment when we have a settlement and all this is done, yeah, we still need regulatory clarity, but I just think at that moment you'll start seeing all these companies come out of the shadow, because they're like, wait a minute, hey, we need clarity, doggone it, we can bank on this because it's legally done. Yeah, and I think at that point it could be your take on that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, just looking at XRP itself as a Ripple offering, in terms of regulations, I follow them. I'm just waiting for the box for XRP to be put in a box. I mean, it sounds bad, but I mean, we know what it's not. We know it's not a security, but what is it? What framework does it adhere to? What is it? What can it do? What can it do? What are its operating limitations? Who can use it? How can they use it? When can they use it? Why do they use it? What's the definition of it? I'm waiting for all these things to come out. Yeah. And again, because Ripple is an upstanding company, I think to have the ability, or not the ability, but to have the opportunity to be able to study these companies and learn about these companies from where they were, where they are now, and then be able to compare them. So for instance, Ripple to Tether, like you were saying, Tether's tied up with companies like Evergrande, and their reserves, they're able to print as much as they want. They also have Bitcoin as reserves as well. So when Evergrande further, like when Tether, and I believe Tether will collapse one day. When Tether does collapse one day, that has the possibility and the potential to bring down Bitcoin. And people think that Bitcoin is this free floating object, that there's only 21 million of it. And I get it. I get the whole story. But at the same time, I attribute this and akin it to real estate. As a real estate investor, if everybody remembers that 2020 to 2023 run up, how real estate was flat for a while, and then people started to buy real estate and buy, and the price kept going up and up and up and up and up. And then what happened? Inflation crept up with that, which brought the interest rates up. Real estate's going down and down and down and down. Why? Because I'm having a hard time selling my place, because I can't afford it. And if that guy down the road sells his place for cheaper, my price is now going down cheaper. So the way I look at Bitcoin is the greater fool theory. Yeah, it's a shiny thing. Yeah, it makes money because it's volatile, but people forget how economics actually works, right? It's not just a finite amount and then the end, and those people with the Bitcoin are rich forever. Like that doesn't compute in my head. It just doesn't make any logical sense, if you will. So
no.
to have people pull away and view things from an actual point of view that makes sense, what goes up must come down. There's always a tipping point to things. And I'm here patiently just waiting for Bitcoin to find its.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of people always compare it to the .com bubble pop. We
Yeah.
haven't really had it yet. So, your thoughts on strategic long-term wealth management of XRP? What do you think people need to be doing in order to position themselves to that? Because again, one of the things I talk about is people are going to see it tick up to a couple bucks or a few bucks. Maybe it hits $5 at some point, and I think most people scatter and get out. Like, oh my God, this has been when you've gotten beat up as long as the XRP community has, it's hard. It's hard, man. You see $5, people are going to run for the hill. $10,
Yeah.
I think you're looking around, it's going to be a lot empty. I don't know if people make it to 20 or past that, but the point I'm trying to make is, what do you think people need to be doing as far as mindset and putting themselves in position for long-term wealth in that asset?
That's a great question, and I think that people shouldn't just bank on digital assets or XRP as your wealth strategy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that could be it in the long run. But I mean, if that's your only wealth strategy, what's your long-term basis or your long-term thesis, if you will?
That's
Like
right.
one of my strategies are I intend to offload some of my bag at different target points, and I'm going to be rolling that into real estate. I know real estate. I'm not going to say in and out, but I know I understand it and I love it. One of my passions. I'm actually looking at some properties right now and evaluating them. So that being said, should XRP reach $3? Should XRP reach $5, $20? I'll be able to pull some of this money out. I hate to convert it to cash, fiat cash, but I'm putting it into a tangible asset at that point now.
Right.
And that asset, I'm not banking on appreciation. When you look at investments, you look for cash flow. So I'm looking for immediate cash flow for my investments. And one of the other things I want to do is I want to stay on chain for everything if I can, except my real estate.
Right.
If I can, even with real estate. So I would pull some out and keep some in stable coins, and then even try to purchase more real estate on chain as well. But I have a portion of my bag I'm going to hold on to forever, because say 50%, I can stomach the waves, the ups and downs, and wherever we end up,
Right.
But I can see the long-term holders at this point now. They're wearing thin and getting tired, and just like, what, I'm done.
Yeah.
I follow what's his name, Panos, and my guy is like done. He's just done holding. Everything that he's putting out now is just adverse against Ripple, adverse against XRP and the price of it. I think he's just stopped learning, and I can foresee a lot of people just stop learning and giving up as well. What I want to say is keep your emotions out. This isn't something you put your emotions in. Emotions have no place in investments. Investments are money. Emotions and money do not mix, because you make bad decisions when your emotions lead you anywhere in life.
No, well said. I love it. Well said. No, I definitely love that. What do you see? Thoughts on SWIFT and XRP from a political standpoint? How do you think those are going to? Will they interact? What do you think? No, I hate to give you that question, but hey, yeah.
This is such a politically driven, emotionally filled question, if you will, emotionally charged question, if you will, because so many people, especially like certain crews or factions, are like, Swift will never use it. Swift will never use it. They're not touching it. They're using this, and that's it. And it's like, well, I'm sorry to say it, but like a lot of companies that you are unaware of will end up using XRP because it's so liquid.
Right.
It does what no other crypto or digital asset, should I say, can do.
Right.
So there is totally connections with Swift and XRP, and I put those out there. R3 is interfacing with Finastra. Finastra's Fusion total messaging uses RippleNet itself. So for R3 to be utilizing Finastra's total messaging, perfect, right there. Swift is connected with that through their API and Swift GPI. R3 still holds 5 billion XRP. A lot of people in the community will dispute that with me and say, well, have you seen anything that says that they've gotten rid that says that they're using it? And I'm like, I don't need to see anything that says that they're using it, because nothing has stated that they are not using it.
Right.
There's been no press releases. No CEO has come out and said they're not using it. The 5 billion has not come out. R3 has not come out and stated that they've sold off their 5 billion. They have that article that says XRP is still a settlement mechanism on their website in 2024 still. And at the bottom of that website, it says all rights reserved, which means legally R3 has the right to state that still. Legally, they have the right to state that still. And all of these are connected to SWIFT because money is still moving through SWIFT.
Right.
Currently.
Yeah.
So eventually, for SWIFT to keep up, it's going to have to innovate. Yeah, it has Chainlink as the smart contract and oracles, but it still needs to have that liquidity. And later on, as SWIFT begins to get weaker and get weaker because no one wants to pay those high fees, they're going to have to find ways to innovate and reduce their cost and overhead. Again, we have more use cases than people actually open their mind to.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Guys, you guys get a chance, make sure you go over and follow my brother, Mr. Man, right here on his X page. Is at Mr. Man XRP. You can also go over to his YouTube page and you can catch all him and all his incredible content. Again, Mr. Man, just go to YouTube, you'll find him. And then also go over to our Crypto4Life page, guys, and make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell so you guys don't miss any of the phenomenal. I don't know how that one got up.
Can I just add? I've also just opened up a Patreon now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just opened up a Patreon because I want to engage with even deeper now with some of the people who want to follow me and get more in-depth research than what I put out on Twitter and on YouTube, because I keep a lot of information to myself.
Okay.
Because it's hard to put those out into posts. So I put a lot of detailed stuff in videos. For people that follow me will recognize that, but there's even deeper information now I can put out on Patreon there. So please, I'm going to start putting my Patreon out into the crypto sphere and on YouTube. And if you don't mind, I'll give it to you afterwards as well. Maybe you can put that.
Absolutely. Now, is there a way to get to it now?
I don't. Let me.
I don't know if
I don't think so. I think I'm going to have to come out of the chat and do that.
Okay.
So
Okay. No worries at all. And then also, guys, he mentioned Coach JV, which absolutely phenomenal guy. Coach JV is actually going to be on the show Monday. So if you guys tune in Monday at 12, actually it's actually pretty early. It's 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So Vegas, California, 9 a.m. And that's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I had to go through his people to get him on, but he's going to be on the show. I'm looking forward to that. Let's keep it going. So let's talk about BRICS, Ripple, and the Bank of International Settlements. How's all that going to work, you think, in your opinion?
So it's neat, actually. I was putting out some BRICS stuff today talking about ESDR. And I'm not saying that it's going to be used in the ESDR or as an ESDR or as a component or proponent in it. However, myself and Smoke have been putting out information, a lot of information, showing connections, how it can be utilized. I've heard individuals talking about only an ESDR can save the Eastern nation, the BRICS nations, if you will, from what's going on, because now the BRICS nations need to connect these faster payments together and have a common currency amongst themselves to, I guess, thwart off what the U.S. is doing with their dollar, because a lot of the U.S. dollar is going back to the U.S. Economy again now. Right.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. So that being said, where do you see things going as far as CBDCs? Do you think that's good, bad? What's your opinion on that, CBDCs?
That's an awesome question. And this is something I was diving into recently in regards to Project Aurum. So with CBDCs, a lot of people have fear in this term and this issuance, if you will. And I did initially because I had no idea what it was. I heard the fear porn and I ran with it. And that's all it was. And I figured, you know what, let me learn about this to see why I have fear in this. So now I've started learning about it, and my fears are completely unjustified. A CBDC, I believe the term is going to fade off soon. And what Project Aurum is, Aurum in the Latin term means like gold. So CBDCs are going to be like gold. And the reason they're going to be like gold because they are backed by stablecoins. Stablecoins have backing, or can, asset reference tokens, have backing by gold, silver, diamonds, oil, real estate, commodities, whatever have you, by anything really. So that being said, a CBDC, picture it like a wrapped digital currency, wrapped ETH, wrapped Bitcoin, and the stable coin in the center, and the CBDC just wraps that. That's what a CBDC backed stable coin is. And those are known as stable coin. That's it. Okay. They're not called CBDC backed stable coins. They're known as stable coins in what Project Aurum is rolling out.
I
So
see.
soon we're going to just hear the term stablecoins, and eventually that term stablecoin is going to follow suit and drop off and disappear too, because the mass population isn't going to be talking about stable coins. They're going to be talking about the Chinese yuan, the US dollar, the Canadian currency, the e-krona, whatever it is. They're not going to be calling it stable coins like you and I know.
Right. Now, you said early on, you said your first introduction to CBDCs was like everyone else freaking out because all you heard was control. You can't do this. You can't do that. I mean, that's literally what people are thinking when they hear CBDCs. And you're saying that that's not necessarily the case in its entirety.
No, it's not. I gotta go grab a charger. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No problem.
I'm gonna take you guys to my house here.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, CBDCs are not like, they're made to create and build economic stability. So one of the initiatives within the CBDC itself is do no harm to the economy itself. So with no harm happening to the economy, there's clearly going to be some issues taking place for people, but the initiative of what a CBDC is supposed to be will not end up being so bad in the end. Okay. Because people will run to the CBDC itself. However, for the US, and that's just generally talking though. That's just me generally talking, because there's going to be different types of CBDCs. Like the US's CBDC will be utilized hypothetically as a food stamp, where there might be limits in terms of how much you can spend. Time frame limits on when you can spend it or how long it can sit in your wallet for. And then we have entities like out in the East where they may not have those time limits.
Right.
It might just be, here's your CBDC, do with it as you will. Because now I was looking into Project Sella, which is out in the East there in, where is it? Israel. With Israel, and they are talking about how they can get these into children's hands now, and into connective wallets for the parents and the child itself. That way they both can see balances, and the parent can determine what the child can spend it on. Right. So some of these terms that we hear aren't necessarily the bank's control. When we hear them talk and they say there's going to be control, there's no definition on who's having that control. That could be you giving your child some money, digital currency on that platform, and then you have the ability to have control on how much they can spend, when they can spend it, put a time frame on it, whatever it is. So it all depends on how you look at it. When they are speaking generally. They are speaking generally, and then it's up to us to put the pieces together.
Right. I appreciate that. No, definitely great information. And I guess the last thing we're going to talk about is just really your final thoughts of anything you want to say. We've got just under 700 people live between YouTube and X. We appreciate all you guys that are here. We're just under an hour, 52 minutes into the stream. So I want you to take the next several minutes and just anything that you want to talk about, whether it's following you, whether some of the things that you're working on, people's mindset going into where we're at right now or leading in over the next 6 months or so before the next bull run. Anything you want to share, the mic is yours.
Yeah, thank you for that. Again, you guys, please give me a follow on YouTube, give me a follow on Twitter, and I'm going to put up my Patreon once I jump off of this here, and I'll give it to Jay as well. And one of the things I'm working on right now, my biggest thing, is the infrastructure right now, and learning about the connection on infrastructure and these faster payment systems, because once these begin to connect up, we will start seeing more volume happening at this point. And when we start to see more volume, I would hope to think that we would begin to see price movement of XRP. So again, keep the emotions out of this and put the logical thinking cap on at what needs to happen. It's not just, this isn't the old paradigm where Ripple makes a partnership with a central bank and why isn't XRP moving up? It's not that. XRP has nothing to do with Ripple, the company, other than the fact that Ripple is the sole custodian and issuer of XRP. Other than that, XRP is its own entity and will do what it needs to do when the time is right. So have patience with it. I know a lot of you guys are giving up and falling out of love with it. Frankly, don't fall in love with it.
Right.
learn about the technology, learn what its capabilities are, and then make your decisions like that. I do appreciate the time that we had together to rock and chop this up this evening, Jay. I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, brother, you're very respected in this space. We definitely appreciate your content. I'm going to continue to share your incredible content. You guys make sure you follow my brother, Mr. Man, on both X and on YouTube. My friend, it's been an honor. I appreciate you in a major way. Thank you for showing up, as always. And thank you for all you do for us citizens out there and protecting us.
Anytime. Whenever you guys are in New York, give me a call. Let me know. And I'll swing on by and help out the city of Metropolis.
I love it. I love it. My man, I was going to say Iron Man. I see Iron Man in the group too. My man, Mr. Man, I appreciate you very much, my brother. For all you guys that are out there, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. Again, Coach JV. It'll be 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. See you guys then. Again, the one and only Mr. Man. We'll see you guys soon. It's your boy James, a.k.a. 68J. Peace.